In December last year, Michael McEwan became one of the latest victims of alcohol-fuelled violence on our streets.
The 23-year-old software salesman was attacked in Bondi in Sydney's eastern suburbs, which left him fighting for his life in an induced coma. Well, Michael's father, Robert, and stepmum, Louise, join us now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
First of all, what was your reaction to the release of that new information yesterday?
I was pleasantly surprised. I thought the measures are heading in the right direction. It went further than I expected.
In what way? And when you say a step in the right direction, can you elaborate on what you think needs to be done further?
I was surprised at the Newcastle-style lockouts because the government had not indicated or given any indication that they were going to introduce a measure like that. So I thought that was a very good thing. In terms of what they can do, one of the things that I was advocating was that if you're out on bail or you're on a good behaviour bond for an alcohol-related offence, I don't think you should have the right to drink in public. At the moment, the judiciary can impose conditions, but they don't tend to do that so much. And so there's nothing to stop these guys going back to the pubs and getting drunk again and doing it all again, because most of the offenders have done this sort of thing before.
That's right.
Is there anything about these new laws that would have saved Michael from what he's gone through?
Well, certainly that one might have. The guy who allegedly instigated that assault was out on bail for another offence. So if he had not been allowed to drink in public, then quite possibly that whole thing wouldn't have happened.
Louise, I guess, you know, looking at it from such a close proximity, when we see these laws change, when we see the violence on the television, and everyone wants to do something about it. Now, you know it so intimately, you two. Does it not occur to, I guess, authorities that you as a family are living and breathing this, and that something needed to be done, and when they don't go far enough, is it frustrating?
Yes, it can be very frustrating. I think I'm also very happy with what they've done. I think for the youth coming through that this will be very helpful for them to educate them as well. I think that's very important.
How is Michael doing?
He's doing very well, thank you. He's getting better each day. He still gets very tired, but we have had him home on the weekend, which was great, just to have family time and, you know, he can have his favourite food and see his sisters and little brother, and it's been lovely.
You know, we've been speaking to some of the families, some of the victims' families over the last couple of days, and it's occurred to us that long after the headlines have gone, long after sometimes the perpetrators have been jailed, they're left with the consequences of that one hit. It's an incredibly difficult road, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. People tend to forget about the survivors, and they do have a long road. And Michael's lucky because he's got us, and he hasn't got he's not married, he hasn't got a mortgage or anything like that, so he can live with us as long as he wants. But there's others who, they have a wife and kids and responsibilities and a mortgage, and they can't work, they can't drive, and it's really tough for those people.
No doubt it breaks your hearts seeing what's happened to him. What's it like on siblings?
Look, it was traumatic because we've got younger kids. We've got Joey, who's 11, and Olivia's 13. Michael's got a 19-year-old sister, so it was really hard on them, particularly the younger kids initially, when they saw their brother in hospital with all the tubes. And we took them in because we didn't know if he was going to survive, and we wanted them to have the opportunity to see him and say goodbye if he wasn't going to survive. And that was really hard, and they were very upset by that scene. It was so confronting for them.
Okay, so best case scenario moving forward, what do you see? Full court press on this issue. What do you see happening that look, it's not going to stop every time or every one of these, but at least put in place things that can reduce the number?
How do I think it's going to develop over time?
What would you like to see in place?
Okay, so I think they're heading in the right direction. I think it's a matter of seeing how these measures go. If they work, keep them in place. If they don't work, try something else. I think ultimately you've got to see a dramatic fall in the incidence of alcohol-related violence. And I'm talking not just a 10% drop, but 30% plus. I think that will make a difference. I think the biggest challenge is to change the culture, the drinking culture, the culture of youth, where they want to go out and binge drink for a start, and also where they think that it's manly to go and hit people, to king hit people when they're not. And not just the king hits, but also just the street violence in general. You know, that gang mob violence where they just, I don't know, you see it on TV, and it's just really ugly scenes. And I think it has to be put or identified for what it is. It's just ugly. It shouldn't have any part in our society.
Robert and Louise, on behalf of every parent who lives in absolute fear of the same thing happening to their children, thank you so much for being so vocal and so honest and fighting such a good fight. And in the meantime, all strength to you and all of your children, and Michael in particular.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for your time.
Thanks for being with us.